Okay, so to understand how to solve quadratic equations by completing square, we need to note that for some quadratic equations, we cannot solve them by factorization. For instance, if we have an equation like x squared plus 6x minus 5 equals 0. Remember, to solve this by factorization, we have to look for two numbers that we can multiply to get negative 5. And we get those numbers, we add them to get positive 6. Now, you see that there are two ways how we can get negative 5. We can get 1 times negative 5, or we can get negative 1 times 5. But if we add 1 plus 5, 1 plus negative 5, we will get negative 4. This is not positive 6. And when we get negative 1 plus 5, we will get 4. This is not 6. So this means that we cannot get positive 6, then implying that we cannot solve this equation by factorization. So that's why today we need to know another method that we can use to solve this kind of equation, because we can see that factorization method is not enough to solve all quadratic equations. So we are going to learn how to solve quadratic equations by completing the square. You know, this equation, x squared plus bx minus 5 equals 0, if we write it in form of x plus a squared is equal to b, there we can be able to solve it, because we need to take the square root here and the square root here, and we get the answer. So what we are going to do, first of all, we are going to see how to solve quadratic equations in this form. So this form, it means that this equation is already a completed square. So now it means that let us first see how to solve quadratic equations that are already in a complete square. Let's say solving quadratic equations in one variable of form x plus a squared equals b. Okay, so let us solve the following equations. Example 1. Solve the following equations and give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's have a x plus 7 squared is equal to 100. B, let's have x plus 3 squared is equal to 14. And let's have C as y minus 5 squared is equal to 11. Okay, so let's get the solution. So let's begin with number 8. But there is something I want you to note this one. Correct your answer to 2 decimal places. This one we will look at it for part B and for part C. But for part A, we don't need this. So A, we have x plus 7 squared is equal to 100. Now, we are going to take the square root on both sides such that this squared goes away. Since we have x plus 7 squared is equal to 100, so we can take the square root here and we take the square root here. But this square root, let me write it very well. Okay, this square root will be plus or minus. Now, why plus or minus? You know that the square root of a number can be a positive or a negative. Or in other words, it is a positive and a negative. You look, if we have a number like 4, we need to know the square root of 4. The square root of 4 means the number that I can multiply by itself to get 4. If I get 2 times 2, I'll get 4. And if I get negative 2 times negative 2, I will still get 4. So the square root of 4 is 2 and negative 2. So that's why we say that plus or minus. So we are getting the negative square root and the positive square root. So if we take the square root on both sides, this squared will go with this square root. So we remain with x plus 7 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 100. So you see that this will be x plus 7 is equal to, what is the square root of 100, student?
10.
10. So it will be plus or minus 10. Now we will get 2 equations. The first one will be that x plus 7 is equal to 10. Another one will be x plus 7 is equal to negative 10. Have you understood that?
Yes.
Okay. So if x plus 7 is equal to 10, then x is equal to 10 minus 7, and then x is equal to 3. And if x plus 7 is equal to negative 10, it means that x is equal to negative 10 minus 7. And then x is equal to negative 17. So the solutions to our quadratic equation x plus 7 squared is equal to 100 are that x is equal to 3 or x is equal to negative 17. Is it okay?
Okay.
All right. So now let's answer part B. Part A is finished. We'll look at part B. Okay. Part B. Remember, for part B, we have x plus 3 squared is equal to 14. Okay, so let us take the square root here, and we take the positive and the negative square root of 14. So this means that this squared will go with this square root and will remain with x plus 3 is equal to the positive all negative square root of 14. Okay, now for this one, since 14 is not a perfect square, it's not easy for us to know the square root of 14. But if we use a calculator, or if we use a square root table, we can be able to know the square root of 14. Let me show you how to get the square root of 14. Now we have this calculator. You also have this calculator in your phone. You can use it. Now we need to know the square root of 14. This is the sign of square root. You place, then you write 14. 1, 4 equals. Now we see that the square root of 14 is this kind of a number, 3.7416, like that. But in our question, they said that correct to 2 decimal places. So we consider 3.74. The rest we leave them. So we will take the square root as 3.74. But in case the next number here, the third number is, let's say, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, this number can make this 4 become 5. But if this number is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it cannot change this 4. It remains like that. So we will take 3.74. 3.74 will be our square root. And if you want to use the square root table, I will show you the square root table. Now we need the square root of 14. The square root, you use this one where there is the sign of square root, then n. So the square root of 14, 14 is here. So the square root of 14 is here, 3.742. You remember the other side on calculator, we had 3.741. And I told you that we need 2 decimal places, so we shall take 3.74. So you can see that it is the same. Now we know that the square root of 14 is 3.74. So we say that x plus 3 is equal to positive all negative square root of 14, which is 3.74. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now we get 2 equations. Number 1 is x plus 3 is equal to 3.74. That is the positive square root. Then the next equation will be x plus 3 is equal to negative 3.74. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, now let's get the value of x. We say that x is equal to 3.74 minus 3. Now let's get 3.74 minus 3. 3.74 minus 3.00 minus 47.0. So we get x is equal to 0.74. Is that okay?
Okay.
Now, there is something special that I want us to change a bit and use. Because you know that the square root of 14 is just like this decimal, is not a perfect square. Like you can say, okay, the square root of 4 is 2, all negative 2. The square root of 9 is 3, all negative 3. The square root of 16 is 4, all negative 4. You know, this one is 4, 9, 6. We call them the perfect squares. We can get their square roots when they are not decimal points. Now, but for this one, since it is not a perfect square, we will not use equal sign. Instead, we will use the approximate sign. We say that, okay, the square root of 14 is almost 3.74. It is near to 3.74. We will not say that it is equal because it is not, we can't say that it is equal because it is not a perfect square. So let's change this equal sign, and this equal sign, and we use this sign, approximate. We use that because 14 is not a perfect square. Okay, now let's get another answer. X, if x plus 3 is equal to minus 3.74, it means that x is equal to minus 3.74 minus 3. So if we have minus and minus, our answer will be minus, and we just get 3.74 plus 3. You know that the answer will be negative, and get this number plus this number, and that will be 6.74. And like I told you, we need to make sure that we use the approximate sign because of the square root of 14. So we say that therefore x is approximately equal to 0.74, or x is approximately equal to negative 6.74. I think you have understood this, right? Have you understood?
Yes.
Okay. This is very okay. You can use your calculator to get the square root of these numbers that are not perfect squares, or you can use a square root table. I'm going to send in your group the square root table. You can save it in your phone or in your computer. It can help you when you're answering these questions. And always when I give you a test, when you need to use the square root table, I always also give it to you during the test, so it can be easier for you to get the answers. Now let's get part C. In part C, remember, we had y minus 5 squared is equal to 11. Okay, so now we will take the square roots. If we take the square root here and the square root here, we will get y minus 5 is equal to the positive square root and the negative square root of 11. Okay, if you have your phone there, you can go to calculator and tell me the square root of 11. Anyone? Use your calculator and tell me the square root of 11.
3 point 316.
Tell me three numbers. 3.1. No.
3.316.
3.316. Tell me another number here.
6.
Okay. Now, what we do, because this, we need two decimal places. We need 3 and 1. But the next number is 6. 6 will round 1 to become 2. So we will take 3.32. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So plus or minus 3 3.32. I hope all of you understand this. Okay, now we can get two equations. Number one, y minus 5 is approximately equal to 3.32. Or y minus 5 is approximately equal to negative 3.32. Okay, now let's get the first answer. Y is approximately equal to 3.32 plus 5. Now, this one you just need to get 5 plus 3. Then you answer 0.32. So we say that y is approximately equal to 8.32. Now, another answer will be that since we have y minus 5 is approximately equal to negative 3.32, so y is approximately equal to negative 3.32 plus 5. Okay, so you look at, I want you to think that there is no negative, or you just get the absolute value of negative 3.32. It will be 3.32, and now this is 5. We know that 5 is bigger than 3.32, and 5 is positive. So this means that our answer will also be a positive. But then what we need to do, we need to get 5 minus 3.32. We get 5 minus 3.32. Okay. 5, let's say 5.00, then 3.32 minus. So here we borrow, we remain with 4. Here we have 9. Here we have 10. 10 minus 2, what do we get? So our answer is 1.6. Now we can get two answers. Oh, someone should mute the speaker. Max, please, you can mute your speaker. Thank you.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. So we say, therefore, y is approximately equal to 8.32, or y is approximately equal to 1.68. I hope that is very, very okay. So that's how we can solve quadratic equations in one variable while using the completing square method. But now, sometimes you will be given an equation that is not a completed square, like what we have seen in A, in B, and in C. So we need to also know how to complete the square of a quadratic equation. Because time is not enough for us, we only have 10 minutes remaining. We will not do that today. We can do that on Friday. So what we are going to do, let's do more practice that is similar to what we have been doing. Let's do some practice. X plus 2 squared is equal to 7. Okay, don't worry, can you hear me? Okay, so when we take the square root on both sides, we will have x plus 2 is equal to positive or negative square root of 7. Okay, so what is the square root of 7? Anyone can tell me the square root of 7?
Yes. 2.645.
645. So 5 will make 4. to become 5. So we write 2.65.
65.
Very good. Okay, now we get to equations. Number 1, x plus 2 is approximately equal to 2.65 minus 2. All x plus 2 is approximately equal to minus, remember it is plus and minus. So minus 2.65. So the first one, we say x is approximately equal to, what is the answer?
0.65.
Very good, 0.65. And then for this one, x plus 2 is approximately equal to negative 2.65. We say x is approximately equal to negative 2.65 minus 2. So what is our answer?
Negative 4.65.
Very good. Negative 4.65. So our two answers are that x is approximately equal to 0.65, or x is approximately equal to negative 4.65. Students, don't forget why we use this sign approximate, why we don't use equal. It is because 7 is not a perfect square. So it is not, we cannot get a whole number to say that it is the square root of 7. So we use a calculator, and the answer that we get is always not exactly that. So that's why we say, okay, the square root of 7 is near to 2.65. But we don't say that the square root of 7 is 2.65. No, we say, okay, it is near to that. Okay, now let's have number 2. We have x plus 3 squared is equal to 13. Anyone else who can answer number 2? Arirat, please, let's go. Arirat, let's go.
Square root x
Yeah.
plus 7.
3.
Hey, x plus 3.
Yes. And here, plus or minus, right?
Yes.
And by the way, Arirat and other students, you may not put square root every time, but instead you can just come and say, okay, I know already, you say x plus 3 is equal to square root positive or negative square root of 13. You understand that?
Yes.
Yes, you can just come and begin from that step. Okay, so Arirat, you can continue and tell me the next step.
X plus 3 equal 3.60.
3.60. What is another number?
3.605.
5. Okay, so since we need to collect to 2 decimal places, 5 will make 0 become 1. So we have 3.61. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so but remember, it is positive and negative. So we say plus all minus 3.61. Very good. So Arirat, you can continue.
X plus 3 equals
This is approximate. Okay, no problem. Let's go. X plus 3 is approximate, or you can say x plus 3 is near to
3.61
okay, all
or x plus 3
is
Uh,
near to
is 3.61.
negative 3.61. Okay, now let's get the first answer. Let's go.
X is near 6.31 minus
3.61, right?
yes
Minus
3
okay, so x is near to
6
6 or 0.
0
Point
1
61. Okay, and the next answer
x is near negative 3.61 minus 3
okay, and x is near
X.
to
negative 6.61.
very good, very good. So our two answers are that x is near to 0.61, or x is near to negative 6.61. I hope you have understood this, right?